Hey, this is the Bully's Bully Brox Boulder. You're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is Izzy James, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is Squeaky Clean, Casey King, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the show with Wrestling with Entertainment, the first audio experience on the web. Interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James Shea, and it is a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with Squeaky Clean Casey King.
Guys, thank you so much for having me, buddy. I'm so happy to be on here. I'm a big fan, and I'm looking forward to the show, man.
I think that's the first time anybody said they've been a fan of us.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I didn't hear about you until you hit me up, and then when you did, I started listening to some shows, and like the one I listened to today was Chrissy James, and yeah, I've been a fan for like the last week since you asked me to be on. So you do a good job, buddy.
All right, well that's a win right there.
Absolutely.
And obviously we're a fan of you, hence why you're on the show. So could you tell us? Can you tell all your fans what's coming up next week?
Yeah, tomorrow, as of recording tomorrow, I'll be in La Follette, Tennessee for Southern Pride Championship Wrestling. I'll be down there regularly, I hope, after this. So if you miss this one, there'll be plenty more to come. That's pretty much it for this month because next week, I'm getting married and I'm taking a little bit of time off. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Just enjoying life, and I'm gonna set wrestling on the back burner for a second and enjoy life with my future wife and have a little bit of fun. But at the end of the month, I have a camp with Dr. Tom Pritchard coming up in Nitro, West Virginia at the Power Slam Academy. If you're interested in that, you can hit them up at the Power Slam Academy, which is going to be a weekend full of learning from Dr. Tom, who's the GOAT, the trainer. He's the greatest of all time.
Really?
His resume speaks for itself. Yeah. And June's jam packed, but as of now, I got tomorrow, then I got the Dr. Tom camp, and other than that, May is going to be used for enjoying life with my family and having fun, man.
And some advice into your future marriage: do the damn laundry, or
Okay.
you might find yourself in a death match.
Well, I have been on several deathmatch shows, and usually I'm the wrestling match on the deathmatch shows, a palate cleanser. But eventually, I'm sure I'll end up in a death match, and I really don't want to experience that very much.
Then just do the laundry. No.
Yeah, yeah,
And of course, where can we find you on social media?
yeah. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at KYKCKing, and then I'm on TikTok as well. But I don't post any wrestling content on there really. It's mostly basketball content. But yeah, I'm all across social media at KYKCKing.
All right. And of course, all of those links. And merchandise.
Yeah, ProWrestlingTees.com/Casey King. That's the only one I'm on right now. Other than that, I mean, I try to stay off social media as much as I can just for my own mental health. But I am very responsive with fans on there, so if you ever want to send me a message, hit me up.
All right. And of course, all of those links will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox, and all our other platforms. Alright, so you work for FCT and you recently made your debut for XWE. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
Yeah, I'm no longer with FTC for reasons I won't get into, but XW, I just made my debut last Saturday, and I had a ton of fun, man. It was like the rowdiest crowd I've ever been a part of. It was at a college, so we had a bunch of college kids, and then we had a bunch of just a bunch of wrestling fans on top of that, and it was just rowdy and loud, and it was mayhem, man. It was a lot of fun. But FTC is where I got my start, and I'm no longer with them, but I'm with a lot of other companies right now. I've made 3 debuts in the last month, and I'm just having fun, getting on the road and making towns, man. Trying to get new places and everywhere I can.
That's awesome. And it's kind of, starting off, kind of uh, coming out of the gates, because you did tear your ACL.
I did, yes. A year ago, I tore my ACL, unfortunately, and I was out of action until earlier this month. I came back to the ring on April 9th, and that put me about 10 months post-op after my surgery to repair my ACL. Um, it was a hard year because I saw all my friends succeeding, and some of them got signed to WWE and AEW, and they were just killing it, and I was sitting on the sidelines. And before I got hurt, I really thought I started to understand wrestling, and as soon as I started to understand wrestling, I got hurt and I couldn't wrestle. So it was very frustrating. And but I'm back now, and I'm making up for lost time. I use that time to get better and become a professional wrestler instead of just an independent wrestler. I try to personify the professional part of wrestling as much as I possibly can. And I use that time to get more professional, get better, and come back a better Casey King.
I think that's your new nickname, the professional Casey King.
Maybe one day. For right now, I'm enjoying being squeaky clean. I think it fits me pretty well, and I'm going to run with it until people get tired of it,
Oh, no. How did you tear your ACL?
Oh, well, so I tore my ACL. Do I want to get the kayfabe reason or the real reason? I tore my ACL playing basketball.
Oh.
Yeah, I
not,
wasn't
not
even wrestling.
related.
Not wrestling related. I tore up playing basketball, unfortunately, and yeah, man, it sucked. Like, I don't even remember the incident, like how it happened. I do think the guy who tore it did it on purpose. He fell onto my knee,
Ooh.
but I can't prove that, so I'm not gonna be sour about it.
Oh, no.
But yeah, man, it's playing basketball. It wasn't even wrestling. Every injury I've ever had has been basketball related and not wrestling. So I think I'm done playing basketball.
That's interesting. Not the wrestling aspect is fine, but when you get on the court, that's when the accidents happen.
Yeah, man, like my two loves in life are professional wrestling and professional basketball. I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. They're playing tonight at 9:30, and I'm going to watch that game like I watch all their games. But yeah, basketball has torn me up way more than professional wrestling could ever hope to.
Interesting. Now, being back after you said 10 months, what
Yeah.
was that first bump back like?
So I had been training with Jillian Hall at the Hip Toss House. It's a school that she opened up, and I was there to help her out while I was hurt. And we only lasted about 3 months before she had to move away, unfortunately.
Okay.
But so when I tore my ACL, I never stopped going to training. I was still going to training twice a week. I didn't miss a single week besides the day I had surgery, of course. But yeah, I mean, I was still going, and I was still soaking in all the information I could from Jillian Hall and Bobby Blaze, my other trainer, and lately I've been going to the Power Slam Academy under Chance Prophet. But the first bump back, I mean, it hurt, but man, did it feel good. Because you had to watch on the sidelines and watch everybody do what you wanted to do, and watch everyone do what you worked so hard to do, and then to finally get back in there and be able to do it again, healthy. Man, it was a feeling I can't describe really. It hurt because it was been so long, but man, it felt good.
It hurt so good.
It hurt so good, man. That's exactly right.
You mentioned Jillian Hall. She teach you any good karaoke?
Unfortunately not. We stuck to the wrestling side of things, and we didn't get any singing lessons, but she taught me a lot. Karaoke was not one of them.
Okay. So she's not singing while you're doing matches?
Very rarely. Around Christmas time, she was for sure. We were singing Christmas carols. Every time we were in the ring, we were singing Christmas carols. But other than that, we stuck to the wrestling side of things.
Alright, and somebody you wrestled, the Boogeyman. How did that come about, and what was that experience like?
The Boogeyman. How did I know you were going to ask me about that? I wrestled the Boogeyman for All Star Wrestling in Madison, West Virginia, which has really become one of my home promotions. I have a lot of friends with promotions, and Derek from Conquest in West Virginia, and Rodney from Imperial in Tennessee. But Gary in All Star Wrestling in Madison, I want to say that he gave me that match, that opportunity, because of how I carry myself. But I could be wrong. I like to do comedy wrestling. I like to get people laughing at me or with me, depending on the situation. Either one's fine with me. And you have the Boogeyman come into Madison, West Virginia, which is a small town. They don't really have a whole lot going on. It's just a little coal town in West Virginia. But when they put on wrestling shows, when Gary puts on wrestling shows, man, that place is packed out. He told me I was going to be wrestling the Boogeyman, and I'll be honest, I got scared a little bit. The Boogeyman is a big dude. Put aside all of his supernatural abilities, he's just a big dude. I've never seen anyone else that big. His arms are the size of my head, and that's not an exaggeration. But man, that experience, I lost, of course, but it was some of the most fun I had because of the crowd in Madison. And we didn't really do a whole lot. I think the match was like 5 minutes long, but the antics before and after the match are what made it special.
Right.
And I came out, and I didn't want to come out to the ring, and I had to get drug out to the ring by some big guy, and I was kicking and screaming, and then the Boogeyman came out, and I got the worms in my mouth, and he broke his clock in his head, and man, it was surreal, because I grew up watching the Boogeyman, and I grew up thinking, oh, this dude's creepy. And then fast forward, 10, 15 years later, and I'm wrestling him in the main event for All-Star Wrestling, one of the biggest promotions in West Virginia. It was surreal, and I was very happy I got that opportunity.
Now, I do have to ask, were those walking worms or suit worms?
So they were 100% real shoot worms.
Oh, wow.
My friend Nathan, God rest his soul, he passed away last year. He did commentary for ASW, and they sent him to get 12 dozen night crawlers. And he came back, and he was washing them in the sink in the bathroom at the Madison Civic Center in West Virginia, getting all the dirt off of them so Boogeyman could put them in my mouth. And they were 100% shoot worms, and I knew it was going to happen, so I carried a thing of Colgate mouthwash on me. So as soon as I got to the back, I put that mouthwash in my mouth, and I took a shower.
You came prepared.
Absolutely, I did.
And now we know why you're squeaky clean as well.
That's right. That's right. I will always be squeaky clean after that match. That's for sure.
And now, you mentioned liking doing comedy wrestling, which to some purists can be a taboo topic. What is something that people don't know about comedy wrestling, and something they should know about comedy wrestling?
Well, I think comedy wrestling, wrestling, as a whole, is an art form. It really is. And the good thing about it is there's so much variety for everyone. Like, my goal when I go to every show, especially every new show, is I want to be every non-wrestling fan who got drugged to the show by the boyfriend or the family. I want to be their favorite wrestler. I want to be the guy who these non-wrestling fans latch onto, and hopefully make them a wrestling fan, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I want to stand out. I want to be different, and you can't do the same thing every town you go to, every promotion you go to. But comedy wrestling, at its core, it's just entertainment, which is what wrestling's supposed to be. Like the show, we're wrestling with entertainment, right?
Right.
At its core, wrestling is supposed to be entertaining, and that's what I try to do. I try to exemplify the entertainment side of it. And I've wrestled he's canceled now, and I don't condone any of his behavior. But I wrestled Joey Ryan at the peak of his popularity back in 2018. And say what you will about him, but he was over. And I don't like the guy. I didn't like him then. I thought he was kind of a joke, and I don't like him, especially now after everything came out about him. But he was popular, and we went out there, and the crowd was loud, and that was in some random town in Ohio. And I've wrestled the Blue Meanie. I've wrestled Gilbug, one of the greatest comedy wrestlers of all time. And me and Gilbug, we got a "This is awesome" chant from a hip toss. Hey, say what you would, and I respect and I admire and I am a fan of the high spots and the flips and all of that stuff. I can't do it myself, but I am in awe of some of those guys, like Facade, Jason Kincaid. Those guys, those are, spectacular athletes. And they get "This is awesome" chants and all that, but there's something to be said when me and Gilbert can get it off of "This is awesome" chant off a hip toss.
Right.
It's just two different approaches to wrestling. And that's what I love about wrestling. It's a circus. It's a variety show. There's something for everyone. And if nothing else, I want everyone to come away from a show that I'm on and be like, "Oh man, that guy with the confetti cannon was cool." If nothing else, they remember my match because they were laughing at it.
And I love that band song. And I just love that, headspace of, wanting to entertain the crowd.
Yeah.
And, maybe that's another nickname, the independent thinker, Casey King.
Man, there's so many different directions we could go, but a lot of people, I see people tweet all the time, like, "I'm wrestling for the wrestling fans," but I don't agree with that. I'm wrestling for the non-wrestling fans. There's going to be plenty of wrestling on the shows that I'm on. Every other match is going to be a wrestling match, and
Right.
I do a lot of wrestling too, but I want to get them laughing, man. I'm wrestling for the non-wrestling fans. I'm wrestling to get new fans invested.
And that's something that maybe not everybody quite understands.
Yeah, they don't, and I think that's okay because everyone can have their own approach to wrestling.
Right.
That's just my approach. I just really want to grow wrestling and grow with wrestling, and wrestling grows me, and we do it through laughter.
Absolutely. Now, can you tell us about the adventures of the Bailey School Kids?
So the Bailey School Kids was most of my gear and T-shirt designs and all that. They come from nostalgia themes, I guess. Like my trunks that I've been wearing lately since my return are Scooby-Doo themed.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of Scooby-Doo themed merch on my pro wrestling tees, and I have a Mucha Lucha themed shirt on there, and I got a bunch of stuff coming out. But nostalgia's big for me, man, because nostalgia's a hell of a drug, like they say. And the Baylor School Kids was a series of books that put people in a bunch of weird situations. Like my favorite one was "What if vampires wore polka dots?" And if it wasn't my first chapter book I read, it was one of them. And I just have such a fond memory for the Bailey School Kids and the Magic Treehouse books because they, before I got into wrestling, that was my wrestling, if that makes sense. Like, that was what I dove into. I was reading those. I was up all night reading those books and having fun and just using my imagination to run wild. And then when I got introduced to wrestling, it kind of replaced that. But I have such a fond memory for those books as a kid. And, man, that was my childhood.
Absolutely, and I did see the Scooby Doo trunks, which are awesome.
Thank you very much.
Are those is kind of bringing this part kind of tribute to your childhood, so to speak?
Absolutely, yeah. And also I want to be like a real life cartoon when it comes to wrestling too. That's where the confetti cannon comes in, and that's where the comedy comes in. But absolutely, Scooby Doo was a huge part of my childhood, and I used to walk around with an airbrush T-shirt when you could get like airbrush T-shirts at the mall made, and it just had Scooby Doo and my name on it, and I used to wear that every single day, and I still have it somewhere. Of course, it doesn't fit me anymore. I'm a little bit bigger than I was when I was 3, but Yeah, absolutely. It is a tribute to my childhood, and I'm trying to bring a little bit of child Casey, out in the open.
That's awesome. Now, could you tell us about the Super Show for promo leading into the Battle Royal?
You have to refresh my memory, buddy.
There was a guy that was holding your billboard, and you swatted the cake.
Man, I've done so many promos that doesn't ring a bell. But promos are really how I got um, recognized, I guess, initially. Um, like the Boogeyman, going back to the Boogeyman match, I did a promo leading up to it, how I was going to beat the Boogeyman, and I had a Molotov cocktail that I was going to try to bring in the ring, and I lit it accidentally before the match started. So I had a Molotov cocktail I had to get rid of in the promo, and I cut a promo looking in the mirror while there was somebody in the toilet next to me. It's promos. I really, really love doing promos and skits to promote matches because not a lot of people do it, unfortunately, and it's just such an easy way to promote shows. And I mean, that's how I got recognized initially was was Casey King promos on Facebook, and I love doing them.
There was one where you were training for a match for AEW Dark.
Yes, yeah. I unfortunately I haven't been on AEW Dark yet, but I did a video. Not yet. Hopefully, I do. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
I would love to. Anytime they call, I'll make myself available. But yeah, I did that video as a maybe like a resume kind of an audition video, and I was just sitting in the dark auditioning for AEW Dark because I'm only a little bit scared of the dark. So yeah, it's funny videos like that I think help me stand out and make me a little bit different than anyone else. Yeah, I love doing them.
On the show, we call AEW Dark Elevation AEW Advanced Darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of my friends are on those shows every single week, and they're killing it. And I just really hope I get my chance to showcase what I can do on a national level, man.
Absolutely, and it seems like you're on that path as well.
I hope so, man. Like I said, I used my time off to get better and try to come back looking like a professional, acting like a professional, and presenting myself as a professional. And I hope that people start to see that. And some people are starting to see it, but I hope that it reaches the people I'm going after.
Absolutely, and correct me if I'm wrong here. You're an honorary member of the Spirit Squad?
So back, I think it was my second show ever. Mikey from the Spirit Squad had to cancel, and I was a replacement for him for one night. I teamed with Kenny, and I didn't really do much because it was my second show ever. But I got chokeslammed by Big John, who's unfortunately has quit wrestling since then. But he was a talented guy, man. But yeah, I got a team with Kenny for one night, and dude, it was a lot of fun. And back then, I didn't really know how to present myself around superstars like that. But looking back on it now, man, what a cool experience to have. Getting to be in the Spirit Squad for one night. That was very awesome.
Absolutely. Did he teach you any cheers or?
Well, we did a cheer. He was Kenny and I was Paulie because my shoot name is Paul. So he was Kenny, I was Paulie for the night. But yeah, that was the only cheer we got to do, unfortunately.
And your first match was against a friend of the show, Rob Killjoy, a part of the Ugly Ducklings.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, continue.
So I wrestled Rob Killjoy for Pro Wrestling Conquest. It was a tag team match. It was me and my former best friend Jock Sampson, that dirty man, against the Ugly Ducklings at Pro Wrestling
Conquest. About that guy.
He's a jerk, man.
That's the nicest thing I've heard about him so far.
Well, I'll keep it like that. Let's just say me and Jock Sampson have a history. but yeah, we wrestled Rob Killjoy and Coach Mikey of the Ugly Ducklings because unfortunately Lance had been sick at the time,
Right.
and he still is. But I saw something today on Facebook that he was doing better.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so thankfully I never got to meet him, but with the way everyone talks about him, he's just a great guy. But Rob, man, he is one of the best on the independents. Man, he can go with anyone. And he's getting chances. I think he's wrestling Matt Cross soon and Jay Lethal, and
Right.
dude, he's killing it right now, and justifiably so because he can go. And I am just so happy for him. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met, and they came out with a victory, but I didn't get pinned, so that's okay. Jock Sampson got pinned.
Right, which may have been intentional on your part.
Well, maybe. We'll see. I'm not going to tell anyone. But, no, so that match is actually my favorite match I've ever had.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and Jock Sampson versus the Ugly Ducklings, because before the match, Jock Sampson was the best. He's one of the best mic guys, one of the best promo guys on the indies. And before the match, I showcased that I could keep up with him on the mic as well as anyone could. No one can keep up with him, but I showcased that I could to the best, like as good as anyone else could. And then when we started wrestling, I showed that I could keep up with Killjoy as best anyone can, because no one can keep up with Killjoy, man. He's phenomenal. But so I showcased I could talk on the mic, and I showcased I could work too, and that match was just a lot of fun, and I'm very happy with that, and that's my favorite match I've ever had.
And being your first match and being in there with guys that are like so professional, does take off some of the noise?
So that wasn't actually my first match.
Oh.
Yeah. No, my first match was in some place called Franklin, Ohio, for some promotion that I couldn't even tell you the name of, honestly. But that was that match happened December 2019, right before COVID started.
Okay.
A few months before COVID started. At that point, I had been wrestling about 2.5 years. So not my first match, but it is my favorite match.
All right. Now correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure there's a story that goes along with this. Simon Dean gave you some training?
Yes. So for a promotion in Ohio, I was facing Luscious Lawrence, who is an OVW superstar, and I enlisted the help of Simon Dean because Luscious Lawrence is just this big jack dude, and I'm not. I'm Casey King. I'm a little scrawny guy. I'm working on getting bigger, but especially then, I was real scrawny. And I enlisted the help of Simon Dean, and we had a lot of fun, and he taught me some cool reversals and all that, and he gave me his patented Simon Dean protein powder from the Simon system. Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun, and some of the most fun I've ever had in wrestling was with Simon Dean and Luscious Lawrence in Ohio.
Awesome. And you mentioned, having a match against Blue Meanie. That's at least two members of the Blue World Order. Has there ever been a discussion to kind of fill in for Big Steve? Big Steve?
The only discussion of that has been me begging promoters to book it. I got 2 out of the 3, and I need 1 more, and we complete the trilogy. So if you're listening and you want to book Casey King versus Big Stevie Cool, I'll give you a great discount because I want that match to happen.
You hear that? Book the damn match.
Absolutely, man. Let's have some fun.
Now, like we've been talking about, a lot of your merchandise is inspired by other things. The one thing that really caught my eye that you don't really see a lot of is Mucha Lucha.
Yeah, man. I used to tune into Mucha Lucha on like Sunday afternoons. It was like appointment viewing, just like Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
Like it was. I always thought it was real cool when I saw wrestling cross over into the mainstream. So to see Mucha Lucha on like Fox Kids and Cartoon Network and whatever other channels that came on, man, that was so cool to me. Like I can watch John Cena on Fridays and Thursdays and Mondays, but I can watch Mucha Lucha on Sundays. And yeah, dude, I had the idea for that shirt, and my good buddy Mike Pico designed it for me. He's a great graphic designer. He's on Twitter at We the Pico, Piwko. He designed it for me. He did an excellent job, and that's probably my most popular T-shirt design I've ever had. I still have a bunch of them to sell, just like physical ones I got made. But they're selling like hotcakes at my merch table. They're selling like hotcakes on Pro Wrestling Tees, and everyone seems to love that design.
No, absolutely. Mucha Lucha does not get enough credit. It was a really funny show. And
It's so good, man.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, as wrestling fans, you can understand the crossover. But
Absolutely.
it doesn't, again, it does not get the credit it deserves.
It does not, man. It's so underrated, and it holds up to this day. So if you ever get the itching to go back and watch it, please do, because it will hold up. I promise you'll laugh.
Trying to see, I do have a Mucha Lucha DVD in my collection for sure.
Heck yeah, man. It's so good.
Yeah, everybody loves the Fleet.
Who doesn't? If you don't, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, get out. Stop listening. No, please don't stop listening. Um, you, all of the people you wrestled. Another one that's interesting that caught my eye was Shockboy, and you're 1-1 with Shockboy. Could you tell
I
us
am.
about that experience and when we could see the rubber match?
So I've wrestled with Shark Boy, I think 3 times. One of them was a tag team match. It was me teaming with Shark Boy against Shane Douglas and Chance Prophet. And that was that was really the first time that I got to work with like a bigger name in those guys.
Yeah.
And then that set up the first singles match I had with Shark Boy, where I beat him through nefarious means, of course. But Squeaky Clean Casey King doesn't do that anymore. So Shark Boy, I apologize for hitting you down low. If you're listening to this, I apologize sincerely. And then later on that same year, I wrestled him again at the Wayne County Fall Festival when he beat me clean in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, after hitting with the stunner. But as for the rematch, for the rubber match, anytime, anywhere, I'll come to the Ocean, Shark Boy. You can come to Kentucky. Either one, I'm ready. Because I know your moveset now, and you're not hitting me with a stunner, you're not biting me in the forehead. It's on. Squeaky Clean Casey King is different than the Casey King you wrestled, buddy.
Alright. We need that rubber match as soon as
Absolutely.
possible.
Absolutely.
Have you seen Beyond Wrestling where they're literally on the beach? There's a ring on the beach, and people go into the water to wrestle?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched any of it, but I absolutely have heard of it, yeah. And as far as I know, they're doing very, very good stuff down there, doing really good shows, and I would love to work for them.
I feel like a Sharkboy Casey King rematch in the sea. That's where the money is.
I absolutely think so. Hit Beyond Wrestling up and tell them, and I'll cut them a good deal too to make that match happen.
Now you mentioned Shane Douglas.
Yes.
Could you tell us about the experience competing against him? Like one of the catalyst of ECW wrestling.
Yeah, so like I said, that was really the first time I got the opportunity to work a bigger name like that. And Chance Prophet I knew before that match, but the other 2 guys I just met, but they're so professional, and Shane Douglas helped ease my mind before the match. It was he was really the only reason I didn't throw up backstage before the match. But he actually has a training school up here, not too far away from me, about 45 minutes away. So he's around a lot, and he's always professional and courteous and nice. And Shane Douglas is a good dude, man.
Oh no, I've met him a couple of times, and he's always been outstanding.
Yeah, he is. He's a good man, dude. He's a legend.
Oh, absolutely. Now, could you tell us about the Dublin pub?
The Dublin pub. Oh my goodness, where did you pull that one from?
We do our research.
Shoot. Alright, so I went. Phil Stamper, the president of wrestling, he hit me up one night and said, "Hey man, Impact and Pro Wrestling Revolver are having a show in Dayton, Ohio. Could you come up and help set up the ring and network and all that?" So me and Mad Nick Mans and a couple other guys, we made the trip to go help Impact and Revolver set up. And the Friday night, it was really just us four that came with me, and then like Sammy Callahan and Jake Christ and Phil Stamper setting up the ring for him. And we asked Sammy Callahan where a good place to eat in Dayton was, and he said the Dublin Pub. So we went to the Dublin Pub, and everyone loved it. Food was delicious. The next morning, however, I have never puked that much in my life.
Ooh.
No one else got sick, so I think it was just something I did. I got an extra spicy burger and spicy fries and all that, but man, I had we went the night before to get all black clothes just for security purposes on the show, and so I had one of the bigger Walmart bags that you put clothes in, and I filled that thing halfway up with vomit because that's how bad the food poisoning was. And I went and I tried to help the next day, finish the ring and set up chairs and stuff, but man, I was so weak because there was nothing left in my body. But the food was good, no one else got sick, but damn you, Sammy Callahan.
Book that match.
Yeah, speaking of death match, oh goodness. I had never been that sick in my life, buddy.
Ooh. Does not
I want to know where you pulled that from. Who told you about the Dublin Pub?
I cannot divulge my resources, but
All right.
But I do promise we're not the feds.
Okay, good.
Now, Die Hard is your favorite movie.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell us about your love of the Yippee-Ki-Yay classic?
Absolutely. So, I rented the Die Hard collection. It was just the first three when I was in ninth grade. And I came home and I was watching it, and the first one was on, which is the best one. I will fight anyone that says differently. It's the best one, and I was watching it, and my dad comes in from outside. He's a handyman. He's a woodworker. He does a lot of stuff with his hands. And he comes in, and I hear him yelling, "I cut off my thumb." And I was like, "What?" And my mom's a nurse. I promise this all links back to Die Hard. So my dad cut off his thumb when I was watching Die Hard, and my mom rushed into the hospital, and I had to go find his severed thumb up in his woodshed.
Oh my god!
He cut it off with a table saw, and I hate blood, man. That's why I do comedy. I hate blood. So I go and I'm trying to find his thumb, and I'm like hyperventilating because I hate blood so much, and there was a lot of it. And after I found the thumb, I put it on ice and I gave it to my sister so she could take it to the hospital, and maybe they could sew it back on, which they couldn't. But I went back and I finished Die Hard, and it was really like a calming. I don't know. Watching Bruce Willis kill all these terrorists was really calming to me after that whole ordeal. And ever since then, it's been my go-to comfort movie. I watch it every year around Christmas time because it is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And dude, it's just the best action movie of all time. It's the standard for action movies, in my opinion. Like man, I love the MCU. I just saw Doctor Strange last night. It was fantastic.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Never spoilers. Never spoilers. It was awesome, though. You'll love it.
Oh.
But, man, Die Hard, you can't touch Die Hard, man. It's so good. It's so good. You know what? I might watch it tonight after the Suns game now.
Alright, well, I was not expecting that story.
No one ever is, man. No one ever is, but that's how it happened.
You know, I was just expecting just some love for Die Hard, and we got an awesome story out of it. I love it.
Yeah, man. It's I mean, I do love Die Hard, but there's a little more to it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Alright. Speaking of movies, let's say they're gonna make a movie about Casey King. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would
Yes.
be the first three songs on the Casey King wrestling soundtrack up to this point?
All right. So the first one is my obviously has to be my theme song, right? Believe It or Not by Joey Scarborough, the theme song to The Greatest American Hero, has
Fair,
to be the first one.
fair enough.
After that, Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. Um,
Interesting.
dude, that's just a banger, dude. I
It
really
is.
want to change my theme song to that. Uh,
No, she
and
hates
then
that song. Like, she really hates that song, but it's literally one of her best songs she's ever done.
I think it's one of the best songs ever written. I really do feel that way. It's so good. And maybe one day I'll change my theme song to that. But right now, I'm really having a lot of fun with Believe It or Not. But in the third and final one, the Avett Brothers are my favorite band. So I have to pick an Avett Brothers song. And I think it would be Head Full of Doubt by the Avett Brothers, which is completely different than the other two songs. It's more of a ballad and more of an emotional song. But I think that has to be it. And there's a famous line in that song that says, "Decide what to be and go be it." And that's exactly what I'm doing, man. I decided I wanted to be a wrestler, and that's what I'm out here trying to do.
Alright. And now that you have three solid picks, do you lock it in?
I lock it in, man.
Alright, we're locked in. Now to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Pineapple on pizza is okay only if the pizza is cold.
Okay, explain.
All right, so I love cold pizza. I don't know if you do. I love pizza of all kinds. It's probably my favorite food. I know that's boring and unoriginal, but it's just so good, you know?
Of course.
But I don't like hot pineapple. So if you put pizza in the refrigerator and you take it out the next morning, the next afternoon, and you eat that cold pineapple Hawaiian ham pizza, it's okay with me because the pineapple's cold. But I will not, and I repeat, I will not eat hot pineapple on a pizza.
Well, this is
Cold
definitely a
pineapple's
first.
okay. I'm sorry, man. It's I don't know what it is about it. It's like I don't like hot lettuce either, if that makes sense.
No, I get the hot lettuce part for sure.
Yeah.
I,
Same
I,
thing for me. Same concept.
I mean, you don't have to apologize for it. I just find it very intriguing because we've never had that answer before.
Well, I'm glad I'm being different than your other guests, buddy. I'm glad I'm being different. And if I can circle back to the movie made about me thing, there actually is a documentary on YouTube about me. Um, it's called "I Am the Strongest Man Alive," and it's by a kid named Hunter Way, who did it for his capstone project while he was in college. And he followed me around for a few weeks. And I had mentioned that match with Gilbert earlier.
Yeah.
And the very first shot you see in that documentary is my match with Gilbert. Um, so if you're interested in that, there is a movie about me, a documentary about me, and you can go check it out on YouTube and see Casey King when he was younger, because that was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago now almost. Christ, it was 3 years ago. I'm getting old. But yeah, there is a movie about me. I Am the Strongest Man Alive by Hunter Way on YouTube.
How did that come about? And what is something like that mean to you to have somebody want to, you know, kind of tell your story like we're doing now?
It's really cool, man. Like, so we were at a show in somewhere in West Virginia, and I guess he was there filming because he was going to do it on just independent wrestling as a whole. Um, Nothing to do, like no specific wrestler, it was just independent wrestling. And I met him and I introduced myself, and about a week or two later, he messaged me. He was like, "Hey, man, would you be interested in being this focal point of this project?" And I said, "Absolutely, I would be." Um, so to have someone like that, and let me reiterate that he did a fantastic job on that. It looks professional as all get out because he is a professional. And he's working now and making a living doing it because I knew he would because he's so good at it. But yeah, we told my story, and like I told you, I reiterate the same things in the documentary. How I like people laughing, and I like to get them laughing, and you get to see it unfold and throughout a few weeks. And I wrestled a few times there. I wrestled a hardcore match in that documentary. I wrestled for IWA East Coast in that documentary. I wrestled for All Star Wrestling with Gilbug and James Ellsworth in that documentary, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm very blessed that he asked me to be a part of it.
Alright. What's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll have to look this up because I just discovered this Pokemon earlier today.
Wow, lucky.
Yeah, so on TikTok. I can't remember the name of it, but I really like the design of it. Because I'm not a huge Pokemon guy, but I do enjoy Pokemon. So let me pull it up here. I apologize, I wasn't ready. I didn't think it'd be asking me about Pokemon. Come on now.
We keep you on your
Ducklet.
toes on this podcast. Audio
Yeah.
experience, my bad.
Ducklet, man. The
Ducklet.
blue duck Pokemon. I don't know why. I just think it's adorable.
Alright.
Yeah, Ducklet for sure.
For this question you'll ever be asked on a wrestling podcast, would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual Rock.
Oh yeah, I'll do that right now, man. I'll wrestle a Rock right now, and I would try to make it as entertaining as I possibly can. But yeah, dude, absolutely. There's a story. So originally I was trained by Bobby Blaze, and who's a legend, he's spoken out wrestling champion. But he was training somebody, and some kid smarted off to him, or what? I can't remember how it goes. But he wrestled a broom, and apparently his match with the broom was so good. So I would love to do the same thing with the Rock, you know?
Well, and I do actually believe Bobby Blaze could have a match with a broom, and it'd be great.
Yeah, apparently it was. I wasn't there for it, but the legend goes that it was awesome.
Well, for context, because there is video proof, there's this guy named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match, an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
That sounds incredible. I want to watch that.
I will send you the video.
Yes, please do.
It is definitely something to watch.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it.
Yeah, don't spoil. I can't spoil Doctor Strange, so you can't spoil the Psycho Mike against the Rock. Okay.
Those things are completely the same for sure.
Absolutely.
We love Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
Yeah. You asked me too quick.
Do you need me to repeat it?
Yeah, go ahead and give it to me.
Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
Man, I'm so ashamed of myself right now. I can't remember what it stands for. I have the T-shirt from Carla and Elbow with Thug on the back of it, but I can't remember what it stands for off the top of my head.
T is for terrible. H is for hell. U is for ugly. And G is for jail. 'Cause a Doug can't spell.
Yep. Dang it, man. I'm so disappointed in myself. I've let everyone down. I own the T-shirt.
I mean, you should know what it means, but if you have the shirt, I mean, really.
I should. I don't know why I couldn't think of it, but yeah, no, I do. I do know the acronym Thug. Absolutely.
Alright. It is now time for that segment. Casey King's Bizarre Adventure. Your wrestler that goes up and down the road and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
Okay. Let me think of the best one real quick, because there's a few of them.
Alright.
All right. So I I live in Kentucky. You have to have a license to wrestle in Kentucky.
Okay.
You have to have a license to do anything inside the barricades in Kentucky. So in 2017, I can't remember the day. It was August. I know that, and it was the day of the solar eclipse, the big eclipse that happens only so often. Um, but I'd been eating raw cookie dough the day before, and I got salmonella.
Ooh.
Yeah, I actually got salmonella from eating raw cookie dough. I thought they were lying to us to try to get us to not do it, but they won't. I got salmonella, and the day I was real sick, I I had to go get my physical for my Kentucky license, and the
Oh,
closest
God.
doctor that could do it was about an hour and a half away. So I was driving hour and a half with salmonella, and I had to stop about 12 times. Um, and this story is too good. It doesn't really happen on the road, but I had to tell you. It's the first one that came to mind, and it's good. So, liquid was coming out of both ends of me because I had salmonella.
Yeah.
And one of the qualifications for the Kentucky license is they measure your standing heart rate, and then you have to jump up and down 100 times.
Oh,
And
God.
I mean, it shouldn't be too hard for a professional athlete, but
But
with
for somebody with
salmonella,
salmonella.
yeah. So they tested after you jump up and down 100 times too. About halfway through, liquid started coming out of the lower half of my body.
Oh.
It's just leaking everywhere, all over the doctor's office floor. And I didn't have a change of clothes because I'm stupid. So on the way home, I had to stop at a car wash and clean out my car and clean out myself because of salmonella from raw cookie dough, man. And that's probably the craziest thing that's happened to me involved with wrestling on the road, and definitely the messiest.
Yes. Yeah, I could imagine that. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that with us.
It's too embarrassing not to share, man. Somebody has to share my embarrassment.
No, again, thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome.
Because not a lot of people would, probably.
Man, like I said, I'm all about the comedy.
Right.
And speaking of, Tracy Smothers is the greatest comedy wrestler of all time.
No,
Hands down.
Tracy Smothers is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yes, he is. Yes,
Yeah.
he is. Underappreciated. I just read his book recently, and it was fantastic.
Alright. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, man, I'm going to tell you this. In the last month that I've been back, because I've only been back a month since my ACL injury, I've been making good money, and I've been making enough money to pay bills through professional wrestling, and that's my goal. So in 5 years, I want to be making a steady living with professional wrestling, whether it's signed to a company or not. I'm okay being an indie darling. You asked me a year ago, I wasn't. I had to be signed. That was my goal. I had to be with the promotion, and that's still the goal. I still want to be in the WWE, but that's not the end-all be-all for me anymore. So in 5 years, I see myself making a living through independent wrestling or professional wrestling as a whole. Um, but yeah, that's what I see myself. I know that's cliche, man. I know that's cliche. But with people like, I don't want to say I'm on these guys' level because they're so much better than I am. But with people like Danhausen and Colt Cabana getting signed, man, there's a void of comedy guys on the independents. And I really feel like I can slide in and fill a role that these independent promotions need. And I think I can be on their level eventually, even though it won't be soon because those guys, like I said, Colt Cabana is my Hulk Hogan. Colt Cabana is the reason I started wrestling. I'm not on his level. I probably never will be. But in 5 years, I want to be. I want to at least give the illusion that I am on Colt Cabana's level, if that makes sense.
No, I absolutely understand.
Yes,
And not the
he's
first
so good.
person that told us that Colt Cabana inspired them to be a wrestler.
Dude, I was in college listening to the Auto Wrestling podcast and his episode with Kevin Steen about the zoo, and this one day I was like, man, I got to try to do this. And the Wrestling Road Diaries have been my Bible. I own all three on DVD, and like I can't undersell how much those movies mean to me. Um, and Colt Cabana, for all intents and purposes, he is the reason I'm doing this, and he is the reason why I got off my ass and started training.
Then that's awesome. Another guest of ours, it was the Daniel Bryan episode that really got him into wrestling. So,
Yeah, great episode, man. Great episode.
Colt Cabana, doing things. Getting people off the couches and into the rings. That's awesome.
Yeah, and maybe that's not for the best, because I've seen a ton of wrestlers, man. Like there's this saying that Bobby Blaze has told me several times, and I'm on like the border of Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia. I'm right on the corner of them, so I can be in any of those states within 5 minutes. And I wrestle a lot in West Virginia. That's why I've done most of my stuff. But he says you can go to West Virginia, shake a tree, and 10 wrestlers fall out of it. That's how oversaturated the wrestling scene is right now. So maybe Colt Cabana's doing too much. He's being too good at his job. He's being too inspirational and too motivational. Damn
dial
it,
it down, Colt.
Yeah.
Did you happen to catch him on Young Rock?
Not yet. I haven't watched Young Rock yet. I'm really big at binge watching.
Okay.
I like to watch everything at once. That's just how I am. I can't I'll watch like the Marvel Disney Plus shows once a week, just because I'm a huge fan of the MCU. But as far as everything else, every other TV show, I like to watch all at once. So I'm going to wait for the seasons to be over, and so I can watch it all at once.
All right. Well, I won't spoil that either.
Yeah, good, because I'll spoil Doctor Strange for you if you do.
What is a match people should still wait to see that best shows off what Casey King is all about?
I'll be honest, man. None of the matches on YouTube of me are any good. For some reason, all the matches of me on YouTube suck. So, if you really want to get into a sense of what Casey King is and who Casey King is, I do recommend that documentary by Hunter Way. And I recommend New South Pro Wrestling I just debuted for last week. They're going to have a network where you can watch all their shows. I wrestled Chance Prophet on their show last week. It was a very good match. It's not on YouTube, though. So all the good matches I enjoy on YouTube, unfortunately. But check out that documentary. Again, it's I Am the Strongest Man Alive by Hunter Way. And also, just check out my Instagram and my Twitter to get really a sense of who Casey King is and what he's trying to do, and what I'm trying to do in professional wrestling.
I think it's maybe time Casey King gets a YouTube channel. What do you think?
I do too, and I have some stuff on there unlisted, so I can send it to promoters and stuff. But I really do need to. My social media, I got real into it when I was hurt, and I've been kind of slacking off the few months because I've just been gearing up for a return to the ring and then focusing on in-ring stuff.
Right.
And social media is so important for professional wrestling. I really need to stop slacking off and get a YouTube presence. Absolutely, I do.
And I do believe the match with the Ugly Ducklings is on YouTube as well.
Oh, if it is, yes, absolutely check that one out. Because, like I said, that is my favorite match of all time. So definitely check that out if it's on there. I didn't know it was on there.
I believe it is. I'll check. I'll double check. But if it is, and I think it is, I'll put that match and the documentary in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox, and people could check it out after they listen to this.
Yes, please do. Yes, please.
All right. Now that we're near the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Da, da, da.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I guess so. Let's go.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
The greatest wrestler of all time is John Cena.
Worst wrestler of all time.
That is very subjective. I'm going to go with myself, Casey King.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
You're your own worst critic, man, and that's the only way you get better. criticism and repetition, man.
I don't like the answer, but I like the description of the answer.
Well, good.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
John Cena, man, the GOAT.
If you could come out to anyone's music, entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Good one. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
It's dead, man. It's dead, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's okay that it's dead. It's okay that some people have pulled the curtain back on it. It's okay.
Squash, fruit or vegetable?
Squash?
Yes.
I mean, I like fruit better. Is that what you're asking?
Is squash a fruit or
Oh,
a vegetable?
okay. I'm sorry. You know what? I don't know. I guess it's a vegetable?
It is a fruit.
What? No.
It has seeds.
Oh, okay. Hit me with that tomato logic.
Yes. But now you're officially in good graces with Coleco Yachts, a part of Squash Squad, which means a hell of a lot more. New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
I don't think this is an appropriate one. I prefer full coverage of the butt cheek. But there's a wrestler, a local-ish wrestler named Zach Vincent who does more of like a thong style, and he's phenomenal. So I think it's up to their own discretion and your character and the presentation you're presenting. But my personal preference is full coverage of the butt cheek.
Alright. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Can't say that I have, buddy. Can't say that I have. Maybe soon.
And that is the correct answer.
Good.
And of course, that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me, JC.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it very much.
And once again, can you tell us where we can find you on social media and your merchandise?
Absolutely. I'm all across social media at KYKCKing, ProWrestlingTees.com/KCKing, TikTok, KYKCKing, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, KYKCKing if you want to send me a little something. Just because, you know. And I'm making towns, I'm crossing the country wrestling. And it's a really cool thing, so come out and see a show. If you see me advertising on social media, come check me out, man. Come say hi, and I would love to meet you.
Alright, and no need to drill it into your Google machine. All the links will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and CastBox. Simply click the link and you're there. I mean, you've been listening to him for just over an hour. Buy a damn shirt.
Please buy a T-shirt.
The Mucha
I'm trying to
Lucha
buy a
one.
house.
Check out my house. There you go. Of course, if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and CastBox. Of course, this was sponsored by Work Energy and Fear Coffee. Join us next week as we finally interview Braden Lee. It's happening for sure, 100%.
Oh man, Braden Lee is incredible, man.
It has taken us a little over a year to set this up.
He's so good. He's gonna be a superstar.
The weeks following, we got Sean Moore and Zoe Sagar. So check out those when they become available. Of course, follow us at Wrestling with Epo on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news revolving around wrestling with entertainment. You can follow me at JamesJ993. You can follow Kaliko at I am Kaliko. You can follow Scooter Dust at Scooter Dust, and of course on the Remix, the only live alternative commentary for WWE special live events. Join myself and him for the next one when it happens. And of course on Twitch, Smoking Dragons. Now, Casey, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment.
You got it.
For our very special guest, Casey King, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling Wit
Entertainment.
Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.